Good afternoon, Year 8s. Today we are going to be making cheese bakes. I do have a class here with me. Obviously they're not going to be in the camera. So if any questions they will ask, and if I need to ask them as well, okay? So like I said, we're making cheese bakes. Cheese bakes are very similar to if you've had quiche or flan before. Anyone had quiche or flan? Put your hand up. No? Okay. So you have a pastry, then you have some vegetables, and you have some protein with it as well, okay? And then you use the egg for it to coagulate. So firstly, in this bowl, I've got 130 grams of plain flour, okay? And there's a pinch of salt in here as well, already placed in there. So with this, I am going to place some soft butter. Now we need soft butter because we're making short crust pastry. Okay, so I need 65 grams of soft butter. So in that goes, this goes straight into the sink as I'm tidying up as I'm going along, okay? Right, so as you can see, I've got the butter with the flour in here, and I need to use a rubbing in method and breaking the butter up, so I'm making like breadcrumb texture, okay? So just with my fingertips, not with my whole hand, I'm using 2 hands here. I am just breaking up the butter, okay, to make it into like a breadcrumb consistency. Okay, here we go. This doesn't take too long. So when you are working in your groups next week, one of you will be doing this, not 2 of you. It just takes 1 of you to do this, okay? So you're just breaking up the butter gently. This again is called short crust pastry, okay? It is quite fatty because you can see the amount of butter that we used to the amount of flour that we had, okay? So just gently breaking those particles of butter up, mixing it in with the flour, okay? All right. Won't take too long to do it. If you have really cold butter and hard butter, then it will take a little bit longer to do it because it will have to melt as well at the same time. Okay. As you can see, the colour's changed, and I've made it into like a breadcrumb consistency. Yeah. Can we see that in the bowl? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just you want to take a little bit closer so you can see inside the bowl. Okay. So at this point, I need to add some water in here to bind this together. I don't want to be kneading this because I don't want the gluten to form. All I need to do is just bind the dough together. Okay, so I'm going to get a jug. With some cold water. Now, I'm not going to place all of that water in here. I will be putting small amounts in at a time, okay? So firstly, I'm going to put a little well in the middle, and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon. And that's a measurement of a 1 tablespoon. And I'll put 1 more in here. And that should be it for now. If I need more, I will add more, okay? So, putting my dry ingredients on the wet ingredients that I just placed in my bowl, using 1 hand now, not 2, okay? And I am just gently binding this together. Okay, here we go. And because we had soft butter in here as well, this comes together quite quickly. As you can see, it's a little bit dry still. So what I would like to do, actually I'm going to give it a moment before I start putting any more ingredients in. I'm going to make sure that the bowl has got no more ingredients in them, okay? So all the flour, all the butter and the salt has all mixed in well. So I have formed quite quickly a dough, okay? This is called short crust pastry, okay? We want to make sure we don't use our palms because it melts the butter quickly, and we don't want that. This pastry has to just be done quickly and it has to stay cold, okay? So here is my short crust pastry. My surface has been cleaned, so I'm going to pop that on my surface, and this will go straight into the sink because I want to make sure that I'm keeping everything clean and tidy when I'm working. Okay, so I will lightly dust my surface with flour, okay? We have little flower pots in the middle here, which are reused flora tubs, but we can use them, okay? Just spreading that flour out nicely. I finished with my water, so I'm going to place this into the sink as well. Okay. With my rolling pin, I am gently going to push this out, okay? Making sure it's not sticking on the surface. So for me to be able to do that, I need to make sure that I can lift the dough up and dust the surface again. Okay. Now, the thickness of this, I want this about 2 millimeters. Okay. So, get some more flour. Just pushing it all out in the edges as well. Okay. This rolling pin I'm going to change, bear with me. Okay, here we go, another one. So what I'd like to do now is put a little bit more flour onto my rolling pin, so it'll help me push the dough. I want to make sure that the dough is not sticking, okay? So I'm going to turn it over, making sure there's no parts that are too thin or no parts that are too thick, okay? Pop that on the side there, putting this over here. Now, before we started this video, I had lightly greased my tray here. The little cupcake case trays, but we can use this to make our little cheese bakes as well, okay? So I have lightly greased, it's not too much oil, okay? Just a small amount. Pop this inside here with my, what is this called, anyone? Put your hand up if you know what this is. Yeah. Nearly. Yeah.
It's for the make a circle of the.
Yeah. What's the name? The name, anyone?
Circle.
No. This is called a pastry cutter. Okay. So we are going to be using this side, not the edge with the ridges. This side here, because it's the larger side, to place into our tray. Okay. So I'm going to go from the edges and I'm going to press down on this. Okay. These can't hurt me because I'm not pressing down too hard. Okay, all the way around, but keeping it close so I'm not wasting any pastry, okay? Here we go. Get as many as I can. So you guys will potentially be making 4 each. You'll be working in groups of 3s, so you'll be making 4 each. Now, I'm going to pick up one of my circles and I'm going to place it into my tray. And just gently popping that in, okay? Not pushing it down too much because I don't want there to be, for it to be hard for me to take it out once it's cooked, okay? Just gently pushing that in. There we go. Taking another. This is a little bit time consuming, this process, okay? So what I'd like you to do is nominate one person to make the dough, and then the second part, somebody else can help do the cutting and placing them inside, okay? All right, just pushing that in gently. If I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, I can by doing that with my hands, okay? Just pushing it out slightly because the dough is stretchy at this point. Okay, go. Bring it a bit closer to me to make it easier to work with. Now I've got some dough left. It's just the right amount of dough that we've used. Okay, and I'm going to roll this out again. Won't take me too long. I need another 4 more. Okay, just picking that up, rolling it out. Okay, making sure by looking at it visually that I know that the thickness of it is the same, okay, because I don't want it too thin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I get lucky? No, I can't. Okay. Another one in there. If you feel like the dough stretches back out at you, you can just use the rolling pin just to make it a little bit bigger again, okay? Okay, maybe this one as well. For the sake of doing the whole tray, I'm going to do one really quickly. Sometimes when you use the pastry cutter, when we're doing this motion on the pastry cutter, what happens is the dough comes back in, so it makes it a little bit smaller. So what you can do is just roll it out like I've just been showing you, okay? If you need to make it a little bit bigger, just to fit these bits here. Okay. Now, as this is quite time consuming, we need to be thinking ahead, and we need to be thinking, how can we do things quite quickly? Okay, done with these two, going to go straight into the sink. Okay, now, I have some ingredients here. In a medium-sized bowl, I'm going to place all my ingredients. So I have decided to use the ingredients that we have in school. So I have some sweet corn here, okay? As you can see, it's a small amount of sweet corn. It's not a huge amount of sweet corn, okay? I have chopped up some pepperoni here. So this is the protein, okay? This is cooked and ready to use straight away. So when you bring your protein in, it needs to be cooked and you're ready to use straight away, okay? So I'm going to place that in the bowl. Small amounts. These are jalapenos, okay? I have sliced them and diced them so they're nice and small, okay? Place them in here. You can put red onions, you can put white onions, you can put peppers, whatever you choose to place into your mini cheese base, okay? Right. With a spoon, I'm going to mix that all up. I could have put all this in individually, but sometimes it's less time consuming when you've just mixed it all up together, okay? It's almost like a pizza filling. Okay, now with my hands, I'm going to take a small amount and place it in to every single piece of pastry I've got here, okay? Making sure I'm equally placing all the ingredients. Okay, won't take me too long. Nearly done. I want to make sure my tray's tidy because there's less work for me to do at the end, okay? So when it comes to washing up, I won't be scraping the cheese, I won't be scraping any of the ingredients off the top. So these can be used when you have maybe a little party at home, or if you want some snacks, or even if you just fancy something different for a change. You can try making these, you can have them for dinner. They're a nice little snacky food as well. Okay, not overfilling them, guys. We don't want to overfill them, okay? If the mixture is still some in the bowl, I would say leave it, but just don't overfill it. Okay, right, here we go, all done, straight into the sink, keeping everything tidy. Now I'll be using some cheese, grated cheese I've got here. I'll take a nice generous pinch, place that on top of each single cheese bake that I've got here, okay? Again, making sure my tray is tidy because I don't want the cheese to melt on my tray. There's more work for me to do at the end, okay? Now, when this will cook, as you know, the cheese will melt, and we have got one more filling after this, and that is made from egg and milk. Now what that does, it helps the egg coagulate with the milk, and then when it cooks, it grinds it all together, okay? So it sets it nicely. So as you can see, I haven't got a whole pack of cheese here. I don't need a whole pack of cheese, okay? I just need some cheese. So you could be adventurous and say, right, what have I got in my fridge? What can I use? Do I have to go and buy ingredients? No, you don't have to. You can just maybe use something from the night before that you've had. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly clean my hands. Now, with my jug, I will need some scales. I need 125 millilitres of milk, okay? Turn that on, change the setting to millilitres. I have some milk. Okay, I'm going to have to use a fork there because a little piece of it's come off the top. Just to pierce it. Okay, here we go. So I need 125 millilitres of milk. Slowly. Okay, that should be it. Put the lid back on. I'm going to need my fork in a minute, so I'm going to keep it here. Now, my egg. Put these here. I'm going to crack one egg in here. Making sure no shell's going inside. Okay. And I think I just dropped a little bit of shell in there. I'm going to have a check. If you see at the bottom, sometimes the shell goes right to the bottom. Okay, but we can check that in a moment. Okay. I'm going to put some mixed herbs in here. I will put a little bit of chili powder, and I need some salt and pepper, which isn't out at the moment, so I'm just going to quickly get some. Bear with me. A small amount of chili powder, just to give it some flavour. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so some salt to taste. And some pepper. Here we go. With my fork, I'm going to whisk all of this together. It's a bit like an omelette, but you don't put this much milk in when you make the omelette, okay? You put a small amount of milk in. So just making sure that egg is nicely cracked, the yolk is broken. Mixing this up nicely. Sorry about the noise. Okay. Making sure all those ingredients are mixed together nicely. Now, I want to pour some of this into my little cheese bags, but I want to make sure I don't overfill them, okay? So, a small amount. Do it gently, pour it gently. When it comes to 3/4 of the way, you stop. You'll see it, okay? 3/4 of the way, and then you stop. Okay, we're going to go around all of these gently. Don't go too fast. Take your time. Okay, nearly done. Nearly done. Okay, might not look very appetizing right now, but once it cooks, and the taste of it will be really nice, because you've got all those flavors that you like on a pizza. You've got a little bit of pastry, you've got the egg, you've got some flavoring. Some people might like food just quite simple, and some people might like a little bit of flavoring. Okay, nearly done. And I will have a little bit of mixture left at the end, but that's fine because we don't need to use all of it. Okay, and there we go. So now these are going to go into the oven for about 15 minutes, and they'll be nice and golden brown and ready for you to enjoy. Thank you.